My name is Paul Nix, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Time Repair Corporation. We're a consulting firm dedicated to addressing globally scaled sustainability problems through education and empowerment. This is the Parent's Guide for our open source educational toolkit, Zero to Civ. The purpose of this video is to break down simply for parents the best ways to support their students who are working with our learning materials, or in fact, any learning materials. Today I'll be going through some of the basics, but feel free to share this video or any of our content, or to reach out to us if you have any questions. We would love to hear from you. Check us out at timerepaircorp.com. Welcome, parents. The first question to address: why Finland? Finland has been credited with amazing educational successes for decades. As you can see from this map, Finland is located toward the north of Europe, sandwiched between Russia on the east and Sweden and the Baltic to the west. Since the end of World War II, they've invested systematically and comprehensively in their schools, students, teachers, parents, workers, and other social support services. One result of this has been a profound societal respect for education. As much as another country might like to, they can't replicate the kind of environment that Finnish has built overnight. It would require massive investment and a major shift in attitude in some cases for everyone involved. Our purpose with Zero to Civ is to provide a starting point and to keep growing in order to leverage successes from around the world for anyone who is interested in making an investment in their students. That is what we will be discussing today. You will be learning how the Finnish reputation came about, why Finnish educational success cannot be bought or sold, and most importantly, how you can invest time and energy to best support your student. Education exists to prepare students for their future. All educational systems want this, but the Finnish educational system has done it best. Soft skill development focused on empathy, involving their community, and long-term growth. This has been done by making education student-centered, and teachers and parents have very specific roles in that system. Parents in Finland don't work the same way that they do in other places, in part because they respect teachers. Teachers in Finland may require 6 or more years of higher education in order to be certified. The expectations are high, and there's a lot of trust placed in them by both parents and administration. Parents work with teachers, and teachers are given free rein to choose their methods. So parents in Finland are not consumers receiving a product. They are part of a student-centric team. They're actively supporting the students, joining as counselors and advisors, involved as the students see fit. While teachers, while being highly respected, often attend classes wearing comfortable clothes, sneakers, so that they can move around from student to student with ease. Students use the teacher's first name, and teachers aren't expected to have absolute authority in a classroom. Instead, they focus on setting goals with the students and being there to help as needed. There is the expectation, once again placed on them, the students that is, that they are ultimately responsible, and that teachers are there if needed. If a student needs to use the bathroom or eat a snack to maintain their blood sugar, they do it. There isn't any hand raising or supplication required. They make a minimum of distraction for other students and get back to their own task on their own when they come back. So what does this mean practically? A student may come home and be asked by their parent about their studies. The student might reply that they had focused on animal life today. And based on that, the parent might ask if the student would like to watch a documentary related to animals with them that night after dinner. This not only gives the student responsibility, but it focuses on open communication, while reinforcing trust in the teachers and value for the time spent in school. It seems simple, but there's a lot going on here. The student is empowered and entrusted with ownership of their studies. The relationship between the student and parent is bolstered by equal communication, and the parent has demonstrated that they also see an inherent value in the subject of study, the teacher providing it, and the school where the student is attending. Additionally, the parent shows that they value the energy that the student is using to work toward their future and the choices that that student is making. Now, this is immense. Of course, if there are problems, like bullying, then parents will speak up and teachers and administrators can work at resolving them. But overall, everyone is working toward a common goal that focuses on placing responsibility in student hands and support at their disposal whenever they might need it. Finland uses many methods and concepts that are seen in other parts of the world. For example, blended learning, the flipped approach, multidisciplinary learning. In fact, much of the institutional and pedagogic basis of Finland is drawn from concepts and models developed elsewhere. Some of these systems have widely been in use in North America and the UK for decades. So what's the difference? In project-based learning, students are given freedom, but they also have clear goals and expectations placed on them. They're given room to grow accustomed to this freedom. Over time, it isn't complete chaos, but because they have a larger target, they will often organize and divide their work in order to reach their goals together. Multidisciplinary learning similarly provides an open-ended question or topic, and then approaches possible answers from different subjects and perspectives, showing students that their perspective is not the only way to look at a problem, and placing value on their critical thought and analysis. With blended and flipped approaches, students have expectations for independent study at home that will prepare them so that they can use their time in class to work directly with classmates. With all of these methods, students are put in charge of the process, but they are encouraged and guided by both teachers and parents to pursue their interests independently. Teacher and parent resources are free to solve necessary problems, and students are encouraged to use their time effectively. In many parts of the world, parents don't have the time to be able to focus on their students. Teachers may not have the basic resources that they need in order to conduct their classes, and may not have the support they need either. Finally, students may be burdened with external problems related to their home situations, health, or even simple economic needs. These problems have been to a large extent minimized in Finland. Strong unions mean that wages are high and jobs are stable for parents and teachers. Universal health care means that parents never have to make hard decisions about their family's health. They simply book an appointment and get things taken care of. The societal expectation that when the workday or work week is done, everyone goes home and that they get plenty of vacation time, that allows people free hands. These are all reasons that the Finnish system cannot simply be copy-pasted into other nations. However, by understanding these differences, we can start making changes in our priorities and policies, as well as the way that we invest the possibly limited and precious resources we have. Here is an example that I call the 20-minute method. Take the scenario that I outlined before, in which a student comes home from classes. You, the parent, have a lot of work that still needs to be done this evening, and you need to make dinner and wind down or go to a second job. Things are complicated. You haven't been communicating well with your student because you haven't been around, and the divide is growing between you. But today, you're going to take 20 minutes to change things. Start by asking the student about their studies and actively listening just about what they did that day. For 5 minutes, I want you to really focus on what they've been working on and how they feel about it. Do your best to show them that you value the work that they are doing and their perspective on it. They're studying space, let's say. You go to your computer or phone and you do a quick search for some simple projects. 2 minutes tops. You grab a basketball and a pin and invite your student on a walk. 2 minutes. You walk out into the yard or a quiet place nearby, 1 minute. Now, you hand your student the basketball and ask them to walk 28 big steps away from you, and ask if they can see the head of the pin. You then let them know that if the Earth was scaled down to the size of that pinhead, then the sun at that scale would be the same size as the basketball in their hands, and that the two of them would be as far apart from one another in space as the pinhead and the basketball currently are. Now, with some padding, assume that that process and discussing this takes about 5 minutes. You still have about 5 minutes left to sit on the grass with your student, looking at the sky, just reflecting on the sheer size of the universe. 5 priceless minutes of bonding and connection because you invested that time and energy. It can be difficult, and it can be different each day. Perhaps you work with your partner or older students in your family to make sure that those 20 minutes happen each day. But over time, you build up greater value and respect together. And that will spread into your community. You open communication channels so that you can learn together, and you allow your student to teach you about what they learned that day. You don't have to be an expert. All of you get the opportunity to grow and play and learn together. Those Finnish values that led to their success can be a part of what you build locally and communicate to your student. These values link closely to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And if you haven't seen these, I advise you to do a quick search for UN SDGs. You'll be able to see the whole list and perhaps go over this with your family. Effectively, they break down proper wages, access to food, education, water, a protected environment. All of those things have been Finnish values for a very long time. There's a basic idea that everyone should get a fair shot at bettering themselves or earning a living, that we should all have access to education and healthcare, and that our economies and businesses will be stronger if our workforce is well educated, healthy, and well paid, with the time to take a walk in the woods if they want to. For years, Finns have been at the top of happiness and quality of life indices, and it isn't because of the weather. Anyone who has ever met a Finn or watched interviews with winning Finnish F1 drivers or basketball players or hockey players might be confused because Finns don't usually look any happier than anyone else. But these values lead to a society where basic needs are met and people can use their time wisely. There's nothing stopping the rest of us from prioritizing those same values. And I highly recommend that you do check out, as I said, those UN Sustainable Development Goals. Once again, just search UN SDGs or check out some of the Time Repair Corporation's YouTube content on the subject. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to talk a bit about soft skills. These are the 7 Finnish core competencies. I have more details about them on the TimeRepairCorp.com website, with some videos with professionals breaking them down on YouTube, but these concepts are built into all Finnish curriculum. They start with the idea of thinking and learning how to learn. The idea that students should learn more than facts. Also, they need to critically break down problems without clear solutions and drive inquiry on their own and for their own reasons. That's what it really means. Next, cultural competence, interaction, and self-expression. All it talks about is empathy and perspective. All of us have distinct experiences, and those diverse views are valuable. It is the same reason that diverse companies show better performance and results than homogeneous ones. By focusing on interaction, listening to others, and expressing oneself in a diverse group, all of our students get new opportunities for growth. No matter what their background is, their gender, their neurocommonality, identity, or goals, everyone benefits if we see a bigger and more complete picture of our community, and if we can walk a mile in one another's shoes. Taking care of oneself, managing daily activities, and safety may seem simple, but this is the core of empowering students. You provide them responsibility for themselves and their peers, their safety, and their educational goals. It starts young and simply so that students are not overwhelmed, but over time there is a clear expectation of supported growth and communication. Grade 1 students may be entrusted with big sewing needles during a class project. Grade 3 students may be seen in small groups wandering in the woods with a map and a compass, without a teacher around. They are entrusted with coming back when expected and reaching out for help when necessary. Multi-literacy learning is tied to what I discussed earlier, taking a topic that does not have a clear cut and dried solution. For example, how should we address climate change? And viewing the topic through the lens of science, but also through the perspectives of history, mathematics, art, etc. In this way, you build up a much more comprehensive understanding of the complexity behind the topic. ICT, or IT competence, comes down to a practical understanding of technology as a tool, a resource, and a partner as we solve problems. It should show students, for example, how to use design tools to digitally create 3D models, as well as physical tools like 3D printers that are becoming more and more common as tools that can be freely used at schools and libraries to fabricate those designs. It also allows us to look at how we address online addictions, cyberbullying, and how to live in a future that is more intrinsically tied to AI, machine learning, and a more robotic workforce. The competence required for working life and entrepreneurship is a fascinating concept to me because it encourages students to develop their concepts and ideas for immediate, practical implementation. Students may group together and design or plan solutions and projects that can financially support themselves, and they may actively pitch those projects and hear from community members that deal with issues of supply and demand actively. They build a diverse skill set and the confidence to start making changes that improve lives and experiences around them. Finally, participation, involvement, and building a sustainable future, my favorite. Here students learn how systems interact with one another and how their active participation locally in their communities, in workplaces, and even politically as informed citizens will impact other aspects of society. They learn about key sustainability topics such as the circular economy and sustainable design and production. And they start to see a wider world from the impact of even small daily activities. This has been a core focus for the Time Repair Corporation, and along with the rest of the core competencies, has guided our content and student projects, like the introductory Create Your Own Sustainability Project workshop that we may be working with your students right now. Now finally, I have an activity for you. If you're watching this with another parent, perfect. If not, send this video to a parent you know and let them catch up to the point where you're watching. Go ahead and pause it, get them on board with this. What you're going to do is work together as parents to come up with some activities that you can participate in with your students. As in the 20-minute method example that I gave earlier, try to think out and see how these activities can fit into your existing routines. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can look at online resources, but be creative and discuss the varied hurdles that you face in your households. Work together with this other parent to find solutions and to discuss both the implementation of your ideas and to schedule some time in the future to discuss the results of your attempts with one another. Now, these plans should also have roles for other members of your household and should absolutely take into account your specific situations. It doesn't matter whether things are complicated, because you are tailor-making these solutions for yourselves. Bespoke, no less. You and your students deserve it. So take a little time and go through it. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please let me know in comments or through the website, timerepaircorp.com, how things went with your activity and how your students are doing in their projects. If you want to know more about how you can get a local school connected to one of our open pilots or projects, reach out to us. The project will only improve as it grows. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you see our new content, and to check out our other videos here on YouTube and our partners who are doing amazing work for students and sustainability. Thank you once again.